Hey everyone, we're watching Ash on Comics. I'm Ash. This is a comic, Superman number 3. Still getting it. You can tell by the sound of my voice that I'm not extremely happy about getting it. I decided to be consistent with the alternate covers. I like the previous two. This one I don't really like. It looks really pretentious. Reminds me of those Jinx World covers that Bendis is doing, and just not happy. But I like the consistency. The other cover, I believe, was Adam Hughes, and it looked pretty cool, but it looked like it actually belonged with Action Comics. It's like him staring as Clark Kent and seeing fires reflected in his glasses, and it just, I don't know, didn't make sense of the storyline. I actually really like the base cover the best, but like I said, I'm just one of those OCD people. I need consistency. So we left off. I don't really remember very clearly where we left off because these books nothing's really been happening. The end of the first book, it's like, oh, we're in the Phantom Zone. Nothing happened. The end of this book, oh, that's right. I think he faced Rogol Zar a little bit and then flew away, and Rogol Zar went to get his army. So here we start off with this character, Livewire. She's breaking into Star Labs to do something, and it's really just like what I'm starting to see is typical Bendis styling of just so ironic. Like, oh, I'm breaking into thing. Wait a minute. What's going on? Oh, all hell's breaking loose. Is this a bad time? Wah, wah. Like, okay. I wouldn't really mind that if this was like once in a while thing, but like it's literally becoming all the time. Bendis writes this way, like everything happens just like it's so coincidental. It's so ironic that you can see, however, the art is gorgeous. These do have the nice matte pages and the thick paper that I really like. The coloring is... it's just eye-popping. I don't know if I'm going to say it's great coloring, but at least it's pretty coloring, if that makes sense. So, this is just really nonsense. It's just fluff. Livewire is like, oh, all hell's breaking loose. And, of course, now Superman's got to show up. Livewire, what did you do? Oh, Superman, sorry. You know, and we hear the inner monologue, I know Livewire well enough to know immediately that she didn't do this, but I didn't figure it out until last word had left my mouth. You can't blame me. Okay. The entire Earth is trapped in the nightmare Phantom Zone. All of this energy signatures led me here to this exact location, and when I got here, Livewire. Okay, I guess that's why we can't blame you. You put two and two together. Who has always been erratic. She tries to get away, can't. Why don't you try helping? Of course she doesn't. This is just fluff. It's just to keep the story going. It's not awful. I mean, it's not cringe-inducing. There's nothing wrong other than there's no point to this. It's just filling pages. One of my creative writing teachers had always said, when you're writing a story, this is one thing that stuck with me forever as one of the best things I ever learned. Everything you write should be for a reason. You should never write anything that is just there to be there, to fill pages, to fill paragraphs, word count, what have you. Everything should serve a purpose. And that's a lofty goal, obviously. You know, not everyone can achieve that or whatever, but it always comes to mind when I'm reading, going forward, seeing other people's work. And while this isn't bad per se, it's not painful, it's not horrible to read, there's no reason. It's just, okay, so Superman's investigating and stuff. I will at least say this feels a little bit more purposeful than the past two books. Like, this actually at least is somewhat good to go with the story. This is having to do with being in the Phantom Zone. So now, speaking of Phantom Zone, we have go over Rogolzar's flying around. I guess he can create this little sphere. I don't know. He's looking for allies. He finds this guy who don't know anything about. Confronts him because he's got a Superman logo. He's saying, you know, that Kryptonian House of L symbol is a dangerous statement around here. Not to me. This actually was a better part of the book. I actually am more liking the Rogolzar stuff when we see Rogolzar interacting with other people. Probably because we're so starved for any sort of character development of this character. So yeah, this was decent. I enjoyed this. It's, again, I mean, look at this art is fantastic. This character's name is Jack Sewer. He's been there. I guess this guy destroyed one of Krypton's moons. He's an old terrorist, and now it's like, hey, terrorist buddy, we got something in common. So he's talking, and he find out that he was just trying to get information from this Rogolzar, and it's like, thanks for your information. I can't wait to hear the story behind all this. Goodbye, Fitzy. And so they all attack him. And this is really cool. Oh, look at this double page. It would have been nice if this was on the staples. In yesteryear, they would have written this. They would have paced the story so this panel appeared on the staples. But I guess printing is good enough now that doesn't. It's not super necessary. This is just a fantastic shot. Of course, it doesn't really take writing skill to constantly say, hey, artist, in this case, Ivan Rice, Ivan, draw something awesome. You know, this is just a big poster, essentially. Ivan, draw a poster. So we go forward. Rogel's been betrayed by this little, what he thought was an ally. And we see the disasters are still going. This would probably be a good Hollywood movie because it has all the, you know, Hollywood loves to do those big disaster films with tornadoes and hurricanes and end of the world stuff. Like, this would feature all that. And that's kind of what's going on in this book. It doesn't quite have the same impact on a comic book page as it does on film. There's Batman, remember? He has the bowel movements from the previous issue. There he is in the toilet. Wah, wah. Sicky poo. Sorry, Soups. Can't help you out. You know, hang in there, Bruce. Can someone get a hold of Alfred Flash? An update? Oh, I don't feel so good either. Naturally, all the Justice League is incapacitated, so got to explain why they're not helping save the world. It's always an issue. I always thought about comics and things that's problematic when you have a character like Superman and then a team like the Justice League, and this is the same thing with Marvel too. Like if you're Thor or Iron Man or something, but you're also part of the Avengers, you can't. It's very difficult to have your own story in your solo book of like you saving the world, and then it's like, well, wait a second, where's the Avengers? Or, you know, in this case, where's Justice League? Why the whole planet is in the Phantom Zone? This is a all heroes on deck situation. This type of the scope of this story is like, in yesteryear would have been entire line crossover every issue, you know. But Bendis is writing it just within the scope of Superman, and it doesn't make sense why the rest of the characters are like, la da da, I'm just, you know, doing my own thing over here. So, but it's because Bendis doesn't consider. There's no continuity here. This is not affecting the DC universe at all. This is just its own book. So Superman's rescuing people. Oh, there's Martian Manhunter rescuing someone. Oh, there's Superman rescuing some people. And there's Cyborg rescuing some people. Aquaman reporting something, whatever. Just filler stuff. Like, okay, I guess they're doing stuff. Here we have Artist Day Off. Boop, boop, boop. 3 panels, same duplicate. 2 panels, duplicate. Guys, hey, it's Adam Strange, all the way from Ran. It's not funny. Totally just random. Ooh, almost dropped that. Hey, look, here's another Bendis book. Waste your money. And then we go to this. Like, what? Wow. Pointless. I don't get this at all. So back to Rogozars, kicked everyone's ass. I want all of you to hear me. I didn't kill you. I subdued you. On purpose. Why? We need each other. You need me. You need leadership. You need a battle. You need spoils. Surrender. We have work to do. Here's Bendis earning a paycheck. This is some good stuff. Taking a day off. Good stuff. All of this was well done. I don't know what to say. Now we go back and it's bedlam, looting. Superman shows up. Put it down, cut it out. Now, zip. I told you. Oh my God, I hate you. Like all of them just like, BS. The guy flies away and they're like, yep, and they keep running. That's what would really happen, but comic book pros don't have a grip on reality. So here we are back at the Hall of Justice. Meanwhile, Mr. Terrific. Actually, technically, none of us actually know that. Blah, blah, blah. Put a sock in it. Terrific. It's okay. People arguing about stuff. Da, 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 da. This, honestly, my eyes were kind of glazing over at this point. This is just more filler. Superman having to step in, talking about it's an accident. No one's really sure what's happening. La la la. Are you going to find out? Is the audience going to know ever? We're on book 3 at this point. Why is Earth in the Phantom Zone? Issue number 3. Will we find out? Let's see. Nope, just more speculation. Da 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 da. So Superman decides he's got to do something. Seeing the Atom and his protege, this frantic is hardly inspiring. And then I hear it. I can't believe it, but I hear it. Flying off into space. Oh, I'm troubled. The Phantom Zone. All of Krypton's nightmares. I haven't felt this in the pit of my stomach since I see you. You know that. I hear you seething. Come on then, if this was meant to be. And bam, another 2-page spread. Gorgeous. Now, if this looks familiar, it's because this is what's been happening the whole time. It just the last 2 pages of the book, something's about to happen finally. We're on book 3, last 2 pages of book 3. Oh, hey, something's about to happen. My bet is in Superman 4, we go back to more fluff, nothing actually happening until... What is with this? What is with this? It's just... This is like... Bendis writes this book. This is what a constipated comic book is. You're just trying to shit out something and you can't, and you're pushing and you're putting nothing's going. And you're just sitting on the pot. Okay. I'm gonna be real. This book maybe is the best of the 3 so far. Like, stuff actually, even though it's fluff, at least it's related fluff. It's not just silly Billy, ha, sorry, Martian Manhunter, I don't have time to talk to you. I gotta go save the world. I'll just zip back and 10 seconds later after you save the world, have a paragraph sentence. Okay, hold that thought, Martian Manhunter. Zip, go off, save the world again, come back. At least we're not writing that sort of stuff. At least we're not seeing Clark Kent sit in his apartment in Jonathan's room, just sitting there moping and rehashing all the bullshit that happened in Man of Steel. At least. But it's still fluff. It's still $3.99. We're getting good art, at least. It's pretty. Something's happening. It's actually getting better. But in the 3rd book, I feel like we've just now had the makings of a first book. You could have edited everything that happened in these 3 books down, took all the nonsense out, and crammed this and had one story. One probably exciting story. If you took all the highlights of these 3 books. But no. So, it's not a terrible book. It's very, very average. And it's, I don't know, the best thing I can say about it is it's slightly better than the previous 2. So I guess 3-star, mild rating. It's average comic. It's not really wetting my whistle. I see potential in it. I do like the Rogol-Zar stuff, like I mentioned. That got interesting. Like, oh, okay, cool. I'm not getting in the lore. Like, you're going to world build. Who's this guy? He's an interesting villain. He's on the cusp of becoming interesting. I don't care about Superman. There's very little character development. It's weird. You watch Action Comics. Bendis writes Action Comics completely different than he writes this book. Action Comics is all about Superman and Clark Kent and character development. And here he's just a tool. Speaking of which, with Action Comics, what I'm not understanding is, in this story, like I mentioned how it's this big, earth-shattering, like, this would be normally what you'd think of as a entire publisher lineup crossover event. The world is in the Phantom Zone, blah, blah. Like, in Action Comics, none of this is happening. Superman is just fighting fires. It's like Superman does Batman. It's Clark Kent as Batman. He's trying to. There's this mob syndicate, and they were setting fires, trying to frame Superman. And there's no hint of like, oh, the world's coming to an end. Like, what happened to continuity? No, I mean, it's one thing that this isn't even like the other books aren't affected by this, but even the other Superman book, it's just like these stories. I almost feel like, honestly, like Bendis wrote these, or at least outlined them like years ago, and just sort of has a book that he's put all these ideas and different things in, or a computer file, whatever. And then when he got hired at DC, he's like, oh yeah, okay, that story, check that story. Like, they were never designed to be. This is not how comic books should be done. Not mainstream books like this. If you want to do an Elseworlds book, cool. You want to do a miniseries, cool. Graphic novel, cool. Like these, if you want to do that sort of stuff and not affect the continuity, you can. I mean, like White Knight, no complaints on that. It wasn't ever intended. I never, as a reader, went into White Knight thinking, oh, hey, why is this not affecting the rest of DC? This is not supposed to. Now, if White Knight had been Detective Comics, issue number blah, 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 I'd have been like, what's going on here? I don't know if that makes sense to you, but at least the good news is this is getting a little better. There's actually hints that this could be okay. I'm going back to my thoughts on Man of Steel, though, and how he wrote Man of Steel, and then just sort of at the end was like barfed out this Deus Ex Machina ending that was fully bogus. And I'm seeing these patterns here in these books where like it's all fluff, 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 last 2 pages something. Fluff, 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 last 2 pages something. I'm seeing like the end of the arc, which I'm assuming will be book 6, will be fluff, 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 barf out some Deus Ex Machina. Superman punches Rogol-Zar into the next universe, and I don't know, or something. And then at the end, I don't have any expectations of anything exciting or interesting. Just Superman winning, because Superman always wins. But maybe I'm wrong. I actually hope I'm wrong. I'm gonna make a pledge right now. Superman. I'll try to stick with this book, and if we get to Superman number whatever 5 or 6, whatever's the end of the arc, and Bendis, it surprises me, I will publicly eat crow and say I was wrong. And I want that to happen. I don't like hating books. Really, I don't. But here we go. Superman number 3. What is your take on it? Please put in the comments. And if you're one of the people who are giving me thumbs down, I seem to be only getting thumbs down on these Superman books, so I'm sure there's some Bendis fans that I'm annoying just by not saying that these are the greatest things ever. Look, I understand, like, everyone's cup of tea is different. If there's a reason you like this and you're thumbs down, fair, but just tell me why your thumbs. No one has thumbs down and then said why. I hate that. Just like, screw your video and leave. I want feedback. I want to be better, and I want to hear why I'm wrong. I don't think I'm the end all be all voice of comics by any means. This is just my opinion. All right, that's long enough. Thanks for watching. Like and subscribe. Even more important though, shout out, communicate. I like to hear what you guys have to say. See you next time.